Yo, what's up? It's your boy Matty Blades coming at you this week with some tips that I wish I knew about flattening stones earlier in my life as a sharpener. So without further ado, let's just take a look. I do most of my flattening over here at my sink where I have like water, my sink bridge, a little working surface and all that. And my first tip for you is that flattening stones and cleaning stones, kind of one and the same thing, should be done more frequently than I did originally. By the time they're getting dished out, it's too late. And there's a saying in sailing that if you're thinking about reefing, you should have already reefed. And reefing, for you non-sailors out there, means take in sail because there's too much wind blowing. Point is, by the time you're looking at a stone and it's like dished out, like it's too late. You should have already flattened it, so flatten it. My second tip for you is to draw awareness that there are a lot of different ways to flatten stones. For a long time, I flattened my stones on the glass plate that came with my Edge Pro stones because for a long time I was doing most of my sharpening on an Edge Pro. I still really like this, but it has its place, and there's a few other things I've grown into that I also now use to flatten and clean my stones. First one is a flattening stone, right? So this is nice in that it does a nice job at doing that work that you need to do. It's faster than the glass. But the other thing I got was a diamond flattening stone, which stays nice and flat. And the trick here is that this thing actually dishes out and gets warped as you use it, especially if you're using a small stone like this one. So sometimes you have to go back and flatten your flattening stone. This diamond plate is always flat, so that's nice. And then by using this plate, you preserve some of the life on this plate. I'll include links in the description of this video of where you can find these, and you'll like the link I have for you for the diamond one because you can spend all sorts of money on a diamond plate, and I have found a place where you can spend a little bit less than all sorts of money. My next tip for you is that on some of your stones you may want to chamfer or fillet one of your edges on them. I did particularly this one here so that for some work I don't like the sharp edge on the side of the stone. I do, working the ride line on hair shears is one example of that, where it might be nice to not have such a sharp edge on it. So I just want to invite you to consider rounding off some of your edges. I like to use plenty of water when I'm doing activities like this, so I let these soak for a little bit. And in this tip, I want to share with you the option to use a pencil and put a hatch mark on your stones so that you can see how you're doing. So now that I've hatched those up with that pencil, I have it on my diamond plate here. Okay, not bad. I see this stone's not in bad shape, but it is still dished out a little bit because I have a ways to go here at either end. So we'll flip that around. Pretty good. Flip it around once more. I have a little bit more work to do up here. I'll take it. Okay. All right, that's kind of it for the hot tips, but can we just talk real quick about why we might want to be deliberate and consistent with flattening our sharpening stones? All right, I ain't gonna lie, I do my best drawing on computers, but bear with me here for a minute, right? So what we're looking at here is this is your stone. We're looking at it like it's sitting on the table and we're looking at the side of it. And we haven't done any work on it, so it's severely dished out, right? Well, what I'm trying to show here is like, here's the knife at one part of the stone and here's the knife at another part of the stone. And I agree, as sharpeners, a lot of us tend to nerd out on this stuff, and sometimes things don't matter as much as we say they do. But in principle, here's what's going on. This dotted line represents the angle of contact between the blade and the stone. And the point is that it changes, right? Where the stone's steeper here, there, here's going to be this different angle. So over the whole course of your sharpening, you're getting the angle of even if you're like holding your blade with like, less than half a degree accuracy on your stone, which you're probably not, or if you're using a jig, right? Like let's say you're using the Edge Pro or something, through the whole path, the angle's changing, All right, it's a here we can let's see, it's a concave action, so you're not getting a flat grind. You still might be working the edge, right? And you still might be putting up a burr and all that. So it might not matter a huge deal, but at some point it does matter. So especially as you're working through different stones, all at varying degrees of dished out, and then the other thing, which isn't even included, and I didn't talk a whole lot about in this, is that the flattening process also serves to clean the stones. And if you've done any stone flattening before, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Yo, thank you for making it through another Hot Tip Tuesday. I hope you pulled at least one little nugget out of this video to carry with you into your shop and your sharpening experience. Please know that I love doing this sort of stuff, and I love talking about sharpening, and I love working with people who want to learn how to sharpen and then turn that into a business and make money from it. And I do that through a community I've built at the Guild of Professional Sharpeners. You can find a link to that in the description of this video, or you can just navigate to guildofsharpeners.org. If you have any questions about that, please don't hesitate to reach out. And you don't have to look too hard to find my contact information on the interweb. Don't be shy, reach out anytime. Thank you again. We'll see you next week.